travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Relationship issues,
Relationship talk.
on 702.
Do you consider yourself to have emotional maturity in your relationship? Oh, let me ask it this way. Who has emotional maturity in your relationship, in your marriage? Is it you? Is it your partner? And how do you measure that? Today we're talking about the importance of emotional maturity and regulation in relationships, because it is crucial to have emotional maturity. It's crucial for building and sustaining healthy, fulfilling relationships. And it enables individuals to understand and manage their own emotions. It enables them to respond to the challenges with calm and clarity, engage in open, respectful communication. So when you have emotionally mature partners, they are better equipped to empathize with one another. They're better equipped to handle disagreements without resorting to blame or withdrawal, and creating a safe space for vulnerability and connection. So we're going to talk about how you can even cultivate that emotional maturity, right? Because an emotionally immature person often never takes responsibility for their actions, which can then lead to conflict and ultimately the relationship breakdown. So when both individuals bring emotional awareness, if both of you bring self-regulation to that relationship, then you're strengthening the bond between you guys, and you're enabling the partnership to grow through life's inevitable ups and downs with resilience, with compassion and trust. So do you think you lack emotional maturity, or do you have a partner who lacks emotional maturity? How has that affected your relationship? Give us a call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. I'd like to hear your experiences. Nkateko Ndala-Magoro is a counselling psychologist who's going to guide us through this conversation. Nkateko, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to the listeners. And I hope we can find this very important topic, very vital topic, useful in today's conversation.
Yeah. Let's maybe start with, how do we define a relationship where, people are emotionally mature, and there's emotional regulation as well? So what do we mean when we talk about someone who's emotionally mature and is able to regulate their emotions?
We mean different things, but what it boils down to, it's basically being able to manage and respond empathetically, mainly, to experiences in a very healthy way. So when we talk about healthy way, you made an example of somebody who's emotionally immature, withdrawing. That is not an emotionally healthy way. So it's basically responding in a constructive way, especially when there are intense emotions, and so that then, arguments and violence does not become precipitated in that conversation. And then you also highlighting emotional maturity. It's basically understanding and also being able to process and express emotions, but also taking accountability. I think that you also highlighted in your introduction, Clement, to saying, owning your own feelings and not blaming your partner, because oftentimes when things are happening to us or when we have experiences in our relationship, it's very, very, very easy, and we can be quick to judge and blame the other person. So that's how we see it. It's the ability to express, but in a way that you also take responsibility for what has happened.
So how much does the success of a relationship then depend on emotional maturity. Does it help when at least one partner is emotionally mature, or you need both to be in order for the relationship to succeed? Or can the other at least hold the fort for the entire relationship?
That would be tiring. I think that would be exhausting for one partner to hold the fort for the entire relationship. But there has been many studies that point to the fact that relationships where people are mature, they have a 25% more likelihood to stay intact, to be healthy. Couples who practice emotional regulation report 25% greater relationship satisfaction. And also pointing out again to literature, it shows us that 69% of conflicts in couples is perpetual, but emotional mature helps partners to manage or even eliminate those issues. So what we're talking about also is not avoidance. So when a person is regulated emotionally, it helps them prevent unnecessary conflicts, basically. And we're not talking about avoidance here. Avoidance is where you are not confronting issues. Emotionally regulated is where you see the issue, but you approach them in a mature way. And that is why you are putting emotional regulation and emotional maturity in the same sentence or the same question. But no, one person cannot hold the fort for both. In fact, it has also been shown over long periods of time that when one partner is growing, there is a gap that they create, and that gap also brings that dissatisfaction in a relationship. And where another person, if they have been verbalizing and they've been expressing themselves over and over time, sometimes they don't exit the relationship, but they become despondent, they become cold, they exit the relationship emotionally, but not with their bodies.
Oh, got you. So how do you cultivate it then? So for someone who is out there listening to us and they're wondering, okay, my partner, my spouse has complained that I'm emotionally immature and I don't know how to regulate my emotions. Where do they begin in as far as cultivating that is concerned?
I think seeking help, it's very important. But more than seeking help, it's expressing it, to say, I have been, I've been hearing you giving me this feedback, and I want to also learn or hear you correctly, that I have the right information. So seeking help through therapy, through coaching, or even just, books and podcasts, they can help. We need to also understand, because usually people who are emotionally mature will say, I am that way, or I grew up that way. So in my household, this was done, or this is what I saw being exhibited. But we need to understand that our brain are quite plastic, so we can learn better emotional habits at any age. It does not matter that this is how you were raised, and I, it's that is why I say this conversation is very important, Clement, because a lot of people did not grow up seeing emotional maturity model. They saw people sulking, they saw people walking out, they saw people breaking things, they saw people talk over another person or yelling, and thought that was normal, but it is not normal. So meaning that you can seek help and give the feedback to your partner first, to say, this is what you have been saying, and this is, am I hearing you clearly? This is, because sometimes we can also miss the mark. That's why I want us to feedback with our partners first, because you can miss the mark in thinking that this is what your partner wants you to work on, while you are missing it completely. And I've seen it in therapy over and over again, where the other person just even shakes their head to be like, oh, this is hopeless because you're not even getting me.
Yeah. So how do you help someone else then who is emotionally immature? So if you are the partner that probably is emotionally immature, how do you help your spouse or your partner who isn't? Because I find that, I would imagine the problem sometimes, Nkateko, is that the ones who think they're emotionally mature don't even
Yeah.
know how to raise it with a
Yeah.
partner. They call them names. Yeah, you are
Sure.
immature. You can't even regulate your emotions, and that doesn't really help the next person want to even do better because they are always being attacked and targeted. So what's the best way to, hold your partner's hand and help them realize when they're
Sure.
being emotionally mature?
Yeah, I want to even say by you, the other partner that thinks you are emotionally mature, by you calling them names, that already is a sign of emotional
Luena,
maturity.
you are
So
still,
maybe the whole relationship, exactly, so maybe the whole relationship is toxic in itself. So we need to look at that. But you can't force growth. We need to be clear about that. We really cannot force growth, especially for one person who's working on themselves and the other one isn't. But communicate how it affects the relationship. I think that is important. Don't communicate on how it affects you, because if the other person is still invested in the relationship and they know that you not growing and you not maturing emotionally, it affects the relationship negatively. So you can say things like, I'm working on how I express myself. I would like us both to grow in this area, for example, or I have just learned that my trauma has led me to yelling all the time or being defensive all the time, and that is a big thing, and it's helping me to relate better with you and not come to you with defense, and that has been helpful for me and for our relationship. And I would like for us to grow in that area. So pose it in a way that it is an advantage to the relationship and not necessarily that it's about you, because the other person may be seeing it as you are saying it so that it benefits you. But if they are invested in the relationship and they see that this is good for the relationship, I think it's no-brainer, unless they really don't want the good from the relationship.
And isn't that the issue also that, ultimately it's about communication, right? Sometimes we just don't know how to communicate things in marriages, in relationships. And sometimes we just don't communicate at all. So even when we are upset about something, we have been socialized to think, sulk about it, or the withdrawal symptom. Well, you're just withdrawing from the whole situation, but you're not really confronting it and sitting down. What do you think is the issue as far, especially when it comes to conflict resolution, where you start attacking each other instead of dealing with the issue? So what's your advice for our listeners who think every time I try to raise things, my partner thinks I attack them? So how do I raise issues in a way where we get to deal with the issue and not necessarily the person? So in other words, you don't then call me names, or you are this, you are emotional, you are a narcissist, you are this. You are more like, the actions have affected me this way, or have affected a relationship this way. Because I don't think that a lot of the couples speak like that, which is what then leads to the conflict.
Definitely. And a lot of people walk on eggshells so many times because they are afraid that things are gonna, explode. The conflict is gonna get out of proportion. But that also, to me, brings to the factor of, is the relationship in itself healthy? Generally, because as a partner who wants to express themselves and you are afraid to do that, it means that there is no safety in the relationship for you to be able to do that. If maybe you know that you're going to be yelled at, or there's going to be silent treatment, or you're going to be blamed or stonewalled, or the individual is going to withdraw, it really says a lot about the relationship. And to that kind of a relationship where one person, so let's say the emotionally mature person, is unable to express because they are afraid of how their partners are going to respond, it's a relationship that needs a lot of help. So you cannot do it. So there is no safety, firstly. So meaning that it cannot happen between the two of you without mediator or a facilitator of the conversation, or help from somebody who is mature or has got a better outlook on what you are on about. So the fact that you are unable to express, it means the relationship in itself is not safe, which then means we need to get another person to give us a perspective or to even create safety in that relationship. So that's where I will start. And then the second layer where then I feel I am okay to express is to even qualify what I'm going to talk about, to say, this is what I want to speak about. Please hear me out. I am not pointing fingers. I'm not blaming you. I am not saying that I'm the better one in the relationship. If you want to point out something, you are welcome to do so. But these are the few things that I have noted, and then you list them. What also helps, Clement, which is a good practical way of approaching how we want to express ourselves, is writing down what you want to talk about, because then that helps to, diffuse the intense emotion that can be charged in you just, bringing up things, just bringing out files. So writing down what you're going to be talking about and say, I want to go through this list, and I wish that you do not interrupt me until I finish. But if you feel it's too hot for you, let me know so that I can pause. Maybe you want to take a walk, or we cook together, or we listen to music. But I want us to come back, because I also realize that whenever we start, we do not, we don't finish what we started. So those are the two layers. Number one, where we can create safety. And if the safety is not in the relationship, to seek external help. And then to formalize the expression by writing down what you want to speak about, and also qualifying what you are going to be speaking about and how you are going to be speaking about it before you even talk.
011-883-0702. Let's hear from you now. What your experience is. How have you navigated a partner or a relationship where a partner is emotionally immature? Or maybe you are the emotionally immature one. Because I do think sometimes we don't get to diagnose ourselves like that, because we think we're perfect little angels, but we're quick to diagnose other people, right? So have you been honest about yourself in your actions, in your relationship, in your marriage? Or have you observed from your partner or your spouse their emotional immaturity, and how has that affected the relationship? Please give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Clement, as always, great topics. I think on this issue in terms of emotional immaturity, this is that part of actually becoming a mature adult. I often think of your emotional maturity and developing and working on that as your gift that keep on giving across generations. I'll give you an example, from my own family, people who come from extreme poverty, and that affected their emotional growth. My parents couldn't cope emotionally with conflict, with their own challenges in their marriage, and they passed those problems on to us. So basically 3 generations. Due to circumstances, people didn't develop emotionally. Hardship often leads to that. But unfortunately, it means the next generation and the next generation continue to struggle with that. So I think if for anybody, it's important that they have a successful, healthy family and that they give that gift to their children. It's very hard to work on this in yourself because it's not something that comes naturally, but think of it as the gift for future generations, to work on that emotional maturity. Learn how to fight. Pass that on to your children so they know how to handle conflict and they can have healthy relationships. Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Learn how to fight. How do we unlearn? Because that's another thing, right? Nkateko, as you said earlier, some of the ways the way we fight, the way we deal with issues, that's adopted and taken from the socialization, what we picked up from our own parents or our elders or our neighbors, whatever you witnessed as growing up. How do we then begin to unlearn that? Because how intentional can you be about unlearning stuff like that?
Sure. And to me, it boils down to what are you aiming? And the caller told us, what she spoke about is something for generational. So if you are aiming that down the line, you want healthier marriages or healthier relationships in your generation, you are going to be invested. So knowing your why is very important. And I think knowing your why drives you. But if you're seeing it as, oh, this is just to please the next person, or it's because she told me to do so, or he told me to do so, or he threatened to leave me if I am not maturing, then it's not a strong enough motivator for change. It's going to be temporary because you are doing it for that, but it's not going to be modeled generationally. And then the how to, it's taking a step back and saying what needs to happen, what caused this in the first place, because you might find that it's not, you are reacting and acting from the subconscious, from the automated responses that you saw that were modeled to you, and not necessarily that this is how you want to react, this is how you want to do things. So the causation of that is also important to interrogate, to dig into, to explore. That also you can have somebody take your hand and journey with you to help you to unpack that a little bit further. And then being open-minded about being teachable and not saying this is how it has always been done, or you found me this way, or I am going to end up like this and nothing can change. Change is possible. Actually, the only constant thing in life is change.
Absolutely. It's 11:30 now. Let's get the latest on Eyewitness News headlines with Mbali Dlamini. When we come back, I'll take more of your calls on 011-883-0702. I'll take your WhatsApps as well as you share your experiences with us. Maybe you've got a question for our guest, Nkateko, who is a counselling psychologist, about how to deal with maybe a scenario in your marriage, in your relationship that involves emotional immaturity. Keep them coming. We'll start with those when we return.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Relationship issues
Relationship Talk.
on 702.
24 minutes before 12 o'clock. Emotional maturity and regulation in relationships and marriages is what we're discussing this morning on our relationship feature with Nkateko Ndala-Magoro, who is a counselling psychologist. Want to hear from you now. How do you fight? There's some people who they become different people whenever there's conflict. How do you navigate that? Is there anyone in the relationship? Is it you? Is it your partner who often demonstrates emotional immaturity? And how do you deal with it without necessarily calling out the partner and calling them names? Because also that just leads to more conflict. Just telling people you are immature, you're a narcissist, you're this. So we need to learn also, because as Nkateko said, if you are doing that, then maybe you yourself is also emotionally immature. Sbu, you're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Clement?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I'm all right. I am currently in that marriage. Both our emotional immaturity is just out of the window. I've gone to therapy, but I'm sitting with a wife that does not sit down and also do some sort of a self-introspection. Like, just recently, I think on Monday, I tried sitting down with her and apologize and ask that we start July on a clean slate, but she insulted me to a point where I said she must move out. The thing is that I also understand that my emotional maturity is also just out the window, because every time when she responds, I also can't keep quiet, as I feel like I'm being triggered by her responses every time when I try to raise an issue that is not sitting well with me. I will just make you an example. I called her parents. I called my parents, so they came. We tried to discuss the issue. I said my part. She decided to just move out of. She just decided to storm out of the meeting. to a point whereby she went to lock herself in the room. Her mom is here. My parents are here. To a point where after some time, I even said, okay, fine. The meeting is over. You didn't want to come and sit down and say your issues. Can you please try and cook for the parents before they leave? I had to cook in front of my in-laws and my parents because she did not want to come and assist me or just try to raise how she feels. Like on Monday, I just said to her, okay, let's sit down and see what is it that we can do. What help do we need? Because I've gone to therapy, but every time when she replies to how I want to sort out things and how I want us to deal with both our emotions, it just doesn't fit well, because when she replies, I also get triggered.
Yeah, so do you guys have kids, Boo?
We don't have kids. It's just me and her. We've been sleeping in separate rooms for 4 weeks now.
Sure. So when she's moved out now, where does she stay?
I do not know. She just left. She never told me. I called the mom, explained to the mom, no, she's moved out. And this and that. The mom wasn't even aware that she moved out. And then only when I explained to the mom that she moved out, the mom then called her. And then she said to the mom, no, I'm staying at a friend. Only the mom called her to say, no, I'm at a friend's house. And then I was like, okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted you guys to know, because South Africa is not safe anymore. I wouldn't know what happens to her, and so I just wanted you guys to be aware.
So, to be clear, did you ask her to move out, or she voluntarily did that?
Immediately on Monday, after we had a fight, that's when I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Please move out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's hear from. Oh yes, have you guys have never done couples therapy? You never done therapy together?
Never done couples therapy. I've done therapy on my own.
All right.
They've given me things that I need to do, but I just do not know what to do anymore, because I feel triggered by the responses. Even when I want to come and just have a normal conversation and say, you know what, let's do this and that, I get triggered every time when she responds to me.
All right, got you. Yeah, Sbu, I'm sorry that are you experiencing this in your marriage right now, man. Nkateko, you've heard what Sbu has had to say and what triggers her, what seems to be the issue. Any advice for them? I must say, what was clear also, Sbu says he has done therapy himself, but they've never done anything together. And I wonder if it's not best for them to have a mediator who's able to manage them both whenever they get triggered. Because now when it's just the two of them, then it becomes being a back and forth.
Clement, you can correct me or maybe even go back to the call, but I think he said they have gone for couples therapy, and he has gone by himself. He has gone, but then I think he means that the wife has not gone by by herself. Sorry. I would have been interested. I wish we could still have.
We still have Sbu on the line.
But I mean, do we still? Okay. I'm interested, Sbu, in during your individual sessions, because you are saying that you are still triggered by her responses. So have you unpacked what puts you on the edge, or what drives you to the edge? And the reason I'm asking this question, her response is not driving you to an edge. And I know that maybe I'm not making sense right now, but whatever messages or whatever happens, whatever happens inside of you makes you to respond. So I know she is, in inverted commas, provoking you, but it's not necessary to respond, because we have a choice between how we feel and how we behave. So did you unpack in your individual sessions what could be making you to still respond when you are pressed?
Yes, we have unpacked that with my therapist. But I'm still not getting to a point, I'm still haven't gotten to a point whereby I can, let's say for the whole week, not say anything. She would, in inverted commas, like you've just said, provoke me, and then I just keep quiet, and then I will just respond normally, to a point whereby sometimes I just lock myself in the room so that she does not come and trigger me. But, when, like now on Monday, I came and said to her, you know what, this has been going for quite a long time now. Can we sit down as married partners and just pave the way forward for the both of us? And then the responses that I've gotten just triggered me. I've just always been the one to say, no, let me just be a bigger person. But now on Monday, when I was saying we are starting July, can we just please and be mature, the both of us? Because I've realized that I've also made mistakes, you know. But the responses also just triggered me to a point whereby I was like, you know what, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So that is important. How we respond is important, because we are going to be triggered in life in general. And what I'm also acknowledging is the emotions, you feeling unheard, you feeling unseen, you feeling betrayed, whatever emotions are, they are always legitimate. How we react is the game changer in terms of how things are going to, what the outcome of things. And I'm not necessarily putting a blame on you, but I think what one of the words or the sentences that you can post to your wife, maybe not verbally, but by text, is to say, I'm wondering from how you have reacted if you still are invested in this marriage or if you still want this marriage. And if you do, please come up with 2 or 3 list of things that we can do to salvage or to build this marriage. So just a text and not verbally, so that you are not triggered. And then you leave it there.
Yes, I think that's great advice. Nkateko, thank you for that. Swoo, thank you, man. Thank you so much for calling us, being brave enough to share your story. And I really hope and pray that you can find some common ground, find each other somewhere with your wife. Swoo calling us there from Johannesburg. Khotso, you are in Rosebank. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Man, the situation that's just been described now, it's quite a lot. Anyway, I was triggered by no, I was not triggered. I was like, my question came from when you were having an exchange with the doctor, and then somebody then, between the two of you, said, let's say somebody calls you emotionally immature, and I thought, perhaps maybe wouldn't that actually flare up emotions? Because, you know, I heard you also now, like, as you were kind of placing or maybe putting the question to Sue, was that it's become trendy for people to use labels. Before it used to be someone is cold, someone is, you know, stonewalling or a narcissist and things like that. And mind you, the people who are saying those things are not even trained in the subject, you know. So and then automatically, if somebody then is called that, then they go to a different place. Maybe they feel triggered, they want to respond, but this is unfair. So what I'm asking myself, and I liked what the doctor just said now about maybe communicating how it makes you feel. But I want to formally ask as to what would be the better way of communicating that? Because sometimes also what happens is that, well, let me just be honest, I've been at the receiving end of these labels, right? And you will then say, but let's talk to the facts of the matter. And you find that the person you are exchanging with, they are not interested in the facts, or they're interpreting the facts in their own way, you know. So that tends to be there.
I got you, Khotso, yeah. That name calling, Nkateko, name calling, does that help? Because if you're really interested in solving the problem, you calling your partner or your wife, your husband, you're a narcissist, you're emotionally immature, you are cold, you're useless. That doesn't help. In fact, you must ask yourselves questions about your own immaturity. So Khotso is asking, what's the best way then to raise, even when you think someone is emotionally immature, what's the best way to talk to them about it?
Yeah. And it boils down to intention. I often say to couples, so you'll find a couple saying, I did this because they did this to me, or I became cold, or I started walking away, or whatever, because they did this. Or even the better one, I like this, and I often look at clients and they can see that, Anyway, so usually they will say, I wanted to hurt them the way that they have hurt me. And I said, but they are not you. So they will not feel what you are feeling. So oftentimes that comes from hurt, and we need to then unpack what is the hurt, what is the disappointment, what is the frustration, what is the anger behind the words, because the words, they are meant to do something to the next person. And but you find that some people, they think that is the intention, to make them hurt so that they can empathize with their situation, to say, all right, by you doing this to me, I'm going to hurt you with this word so that you can feel what it felt like you doing that. But it does not help. So at the end of the day, it's what is your intention? If you are collaborating towards a common goal of a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, a satisfying marriage, a satisfying relationship, you will not want to do the exchange. So I will say to Kodzo, unpack with your wife to say, behind you calling me names, what is your intention? How are you feeling? Is it because you are angry, you are frustrated, you feel like you can't come through to me? Because you find that maybe they think that they have been speaking for a while, but they are not coming through, or they are not being heard. So sitting down with her to say, and not necessarily the first step of saying, when you say this, it makes me feel this way, or, your words impact me this way, but to come to her world and say, when you are saying these words, what are the intentions behind the words? Maybe they will say, it's because I want you to feel the way that I felt, but we are not the same. And is there other ways in which you can get the message through to me? It's insulting.
Yes, play the ball, not the man. Let's go to Lerato now, who's calling us from Linwood. Lerato, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And also to the listeners, and also Nkateko. I'm in a marriage whereby, I'm going to disclose my age. I'm 54. My husband is 60. And we are still like in the relationship like young ones, whereby, unfortunately, our relationship is, our marriage is a distance, because my husband works in the U.S. and I'm here in South Africa. And my husband only comes maybe twice in a year, because I was still doing my studies. And now I graduated. Now I have to join him that side. But I'm so reluctant about that. Because my husband is that person who likes to yell at the person. He doesn't want to hear even before you can finish up, I can say one word and he will say 25 words. And sometimes I get so embarrassed. You might find that I'm with friends. Even if when you say I'm with friends, he doesn't want to listen, then he'll just go on and on and on and on. And people will say to me, but why your husband is like this? Why your husband is yelling at you like this, like a child? And I end up one time saying to him that, you know what, because I Googled, because I was so shocked about the way his behavior. And I realized that he's got this kind of a narcissist people behavior. So I said to him that, you know what, you behave like a narcissist. I started telling him like that, trying to make him aware about the way he speaks to me. He speaks to me like a small child. And when he starts saying those words, like he starts staring at me, he'll tell me that you are diabolical, you have mental issues. And you know what, he's not saying those things only to me, even to his kids. Even to the previous marriage, the mother of his kids. I remember now, recently he just blocked her daughter. He brought her daughter from Jamaica. He left her daughter with me. And he was supposed to come back in Feb. And he never came back. And the document of the daughter expired. So I ended up taking the child to the embassy. He didn't want to communicate with the child. He was yelling at the child. And the good thing about this, the daughter said to me, she's 16 years old. She said to me, Mommy, let me tell you something. To deal with my father, you need to record him, because he is that kind of a person. He will say things, then tomorrow, and he'll change. He says, no, I've never said that. You're diabolical. You have mental issues. And I said to him, you know what? I think maybe we need to get a professional counseling. He says, no, you must go. I'm not mad. You are the one who's crazy. Sure. So before I used to yell at him back, but because of the family that I'm coming from, you are not allowed to back chat to your husband or 2 years. Then I realized that, you know what, now I'm getting out of line.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, the best thing is for me to keep quiet. So what I do, I'll just ignore his calls, and I'll say, no, sorry, I didn't, I missed your call. And what were you saying? And then he'll send me to say, and he's a medical professional, someone. He's a medical doctor. Then he said to me, no, I'm busy with a patient. And then he'll start texting. So I prefer to text than to talk to him, because even if maybe you want to raise your concern, you'll never hear you, because you'll start yelling, screaming.
Oh, Lerato, I'm sorry. Oh, sounds so terrible. You deserve to be heard too. In that marriage, yeah. Nkateko, just quickly, some advice for Lerato, then I'll take Theo in Midrand.
Sorry, Melerato, for hearing this terrible experience, to put it the least. But I'm also hearing that and it's a statement but it says we teach people how to treat us. And I'm hearing that you are already starting to teach him how to treat you by not answering his call. Already you are sending a message to say, because you yell at me, you call me names, I'm not going to hear you out in that condition, because I'm hearing that when he comes back to you, he comes back being humble. So meaning that you are the one who will need to teach him how to treat you. How he behaves, how he is, his personality, if he wants to change, if he does not want to change, that's up to him. It's not your baby to raise. He is not your boy to raise, to have better treatment of women, but you need to treat him, you need to teach him how to treat you, because you cannot be the receptor of all this abusive behavior. That abuse, basically, Melerato.
It is, definitely is. Oh, Nkateko, unfortunately we're out of time. But I have to thank you. I think, given the number of calls we're getting on this, I haven't even gone to the WhatsApps. I think we should maybe do part 2 of this conversation, just to hear from our listeners, and maybe you can advise on how they can deal with their situations. Thank you for making time for us. Nkateko Ndala-Magoro is a counseling psychologist. Someone has asked Nkateko how they can get a hold of you. A few people on the WhatsApp line here,
we are Well Life Hub, and we are found on all the socials. So Well Life, the well for, but anyway, it's complicated. Sorry, why did I make it so complicated? Anyway, you can just Google my name, Nkateko Ndala-Magoro, and all the details are going to come up. But we are Well Life Hub, Psych Inc. It's the psychology practice, and we are all on socials, and we have a website as well. But by Googling my name, you will find all our contact details.
Okay, Well Life Hub. Just also Google Nkateko Ndala-Magoro, and that information should pop up. It's now 4 minutes before 12.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.